Would you please welcome Team Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Emerts, Mark Kennedy, John Morris, Kevin Martin, Terry Meek. Okay, where's Kevin gonna sit? Hey, we'll put him on the coffee table. There you go. Everybody has a microphone. We'll start with you, Ben, and this is good for us to do a mic check. Anybody standing in the middle, you gotta move. Guys, hello, sir. You gotta move off to the side. Why? Because we're trying to shoot this for the internet. We need to keep this cavernous area open. And thanks very much for coming on out. Start you off there, Benny. Just do a mic check and let's go all the way down the road.
Mic check, mic check.
Check 1.
Check 2.
Check, check. Number 5.
There you go. Let's bring the volume up on everybody. Thank you very much, guys, for coming out. I know it's very tight. Wow, you guys are almost like royalty here. Is it kind of fun for this for you? Are you having some fun in Moncton, boys, or what?
We are having a ton of fun in Moncton, yes.
A ton of fun in Moncton. It's always good. Bring the volumes up, guys. They're a little bit on the light side down there. Thank you very much. Now, I was just talking to Kevin backstage. Up until this morning, I go over to Stats and I say, Stats, you got to give me some information about this Team Canada. On the average, you guys are having, on the average, a 7-end game, okay? Your games on the average, don't go past 7 ends, okay? So if you're playing an 8-ended game, you're all over that. On the average points, 8.5 points per game, which basically means you're scoring more than 1 point per end with or without the freaking hammer, which is pretty freaking good. You have to admit, that's pretty good. And I understand that according to this, you have scored your 5th 4-ender of the tournament, gentlemen. Not bad. Not bad at all. But, so, tell me, what's it like for you guys? How you doing out there? How's it feeling? What's the ice like? What are the rocks like? Go from there. Start with Johnny Moe. Talk to me, big guy. The old firefighter you.
Well, we started off the week, and I'm sure as everyone heard, it was pretty warm out here, and there was a little bit of frost on the ice. So we definitely tried to adjust the ice and make sure we got a good handle on the ice and the rocks. And every game we got to make sure, it's been changed a little bit, but we feel pretty comfortable with it right now. And it's our first trip to Moncton, and I'll tell you what, the hospitality and all the fans here have really taken us in, and it's been awesome to be out here. So thanks a lot to Moncton and all the fans and support from the Atlantic provinces. It's been great.
Now, I was actually listening to it. They said after the 5th-end break, when they do a little bit of the scrape of the ice changes a little bit. We have noticed that the ice has been different, and if you go from either sheet A into sheet C, you got a lot of differences going between those sheets. Has it been a difficult time to try and adjust to the ice and what's happening out there?
I just think that you have to keep a really good grasp on it. At other events we play in, you know that the ice is probably going to be the same from the entire event and from end 1 to end 10. And here you just have to make sure you're always watching the ice because you have a couple different spots that are heavier and some that'll curl a bit more. And so it's just it's been a good lesson in keeping sharp on the ice, that's for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk, Kevin, about the rocks themselves. That they're kind of like young rocks. There's almost like new rocks. So how's that feeling for you guys out there?
I've never heard of a young rock.
Well, a newer rock.
Fresh.
That's a fresh. Okay, there you go.
Fresh rock.
I like young. Young is sort of interesting.
Yeah, they've got some character. But one thing about it now, that when you get to the playoffs, so you can pick from any of the 4 sheets, so that so you can pluck out whichever ones you want. So that helps a lot. They're a little different than what we're used to, but that's all right.
Yeah. Now, Terry, you're sitting out there with the coaches, and you're watching this happen right in front of you. Are you surprised at what's happening with some of the rocks on the ice, or how fast the ice could be, or if the swing's not there, or whatever?
Well, it's changed a little bit every draw. The guys have done a real good job, I think, of trying to match stones in the practice session, and even during the game, we're making changes and adjustments. Curling a little bit more again today than yesterday, and so it's probably going to change through the weekend. We get bigger crowds too. Probably the team I've seen adjust the best to stones of anybody I've ever watched or competed against or with in this case, and I think that's one of the reasons for the success of this team is rock selection, and they do a great job of it.
Right, and let's go back. I was talking with some of the guys yesterday. We had Paya out, Randy out, and they were talking about it is an advantage for you guys a little bit over the European teams being able to play on this ice, that you've had a chance to pretty well play on throughout the entire season. Do you feel that's an advantage being able to have it here? Having the world competition here, say instead of maybe in Perth, Scotland, or somewhere else, maybe in Korea?
Well, sure. And obviously you can tell with the amount of curl out there that Hands is giving us a very good ice surface to play on. So you bet, when you get to have 4 feet of curl and you're in Canada and the crowd's on your side, it's fantastic. There's no question that as a Canadian team playing in front of hometown fans, it's definitely a benefit, no question.
Excellent. Well, okay, let's go even further here. Let's go even further. Now, if you're a betting man in Vegas, coming down to the Olympics, and the not to put you guys too far ahead of the game because you still have to go through this weekend, going and into the trials itself. But say if you guys represent Canada, how important is that to represent Canada in Vancouver on Canadian soil, having the Canadian fans in the audience screaming, literally going nuts when you guys are on the ice? Is that an event that you kind of like would love to have, just that wonderful event?
That would be okay.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because some people don't hear the audience. I mean, honest to God, you get out there and you talk to some athletes, they're focused so much on the game, they don't hear anything. They hear nothing.
I think that, sometimes if you're really focused, you don't hear much. But over the course of the entire week, like even this week, for example, it's almost like having a fifth man out on the ice sometimes. You've always got the fan support. You always feel good. You feel comfortable because you're in your hometown. You know people are cheering for you. Gives you that little extra incentive to make some big shots because you know there's going to be a big roar, and there's nothing like playing in front of a home crowd. And if we ever had the pleasure of playing in Vancouver, we'd be used to it because of the great support we've got in Moncton.
Right. Now, if we go down that Olympic road, Kevin, you've been there before. You know what it's like. There's a lot of good information you can instill upon these guys because it's a circus when you get into Olympic format. Because you were there back in '02, and so you know what it's like.
Yeah, it is a circus, but we don't have to worry about that circus till the middle of December, and
that's true.
I'll start to worry about that if we happen to get there.
Yeah,
there's a few really good teams that don't want to see us there.
Well, that's
so we'll see what happens.
That's it, because you got a fairly young team. I mean, if you go back to your team back in '02, Carter Rycroft was the youngest guy on your team, and now you got a very, very young, strong team to be there with you on the ice.
Cubs.
Cubs.
Bear Cubs.
Bear Cubs. Oh, nice.